Hi, everybody out on Facebook land. We're here with the lovely Lori, a beautiful little puppy, Finn, who's being a little bit of a scoot show. He's very fearful, so we're probably not going to get as much done as we'd like to, but we're going to play around with him during this 7-minute break. But we got to get started here. We're running a little behind.
90 seconds.
Let me get my... So, okay, we'll talk about him. We'll bring you in on the second half, and you can tell us about Hounds Town and Finn. And... So you can't stop staring at him, I can tell. It's hard.
Turn this way.
Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah, 1 minute.
You'll see. It's not, as I said, it's not going to be as powerful here because
he's scared.
he's so afraid. But the way you got to socialize him is not stare at him. All right, that's okay. You do what you're going to do. We'll talk as we go. Throw me my squeaky toy, Danielle. And you're going to be joining us soon, you know, with all your statistics and your facts.
Danielle's fun facts.
Yeah, cheat sheet.
30 seconds.
All right. Nice. Okay. Come look. And treat it.
10 seconds.
You can use your peripheral vision. You can see them. I see. I'm watching everything they're doing. That's going to be the trick. So I'm sucking. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, affectionately known as the Mayor of Hounds Town USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. We're live on Facebook, folks, so if you have the ability to be on Facebook, because we have a wonderful dog with us, a wonderful dog owner. We have 6-month-old Finn. But before we officially introduce Finn and his lovely mom, human mom, I just want to update everybody. So, Hounds Town USA, as I said, home to the happiest dogs on earth. We now have 20 locations in 8 states. What it is, for those of you who don't know, is a fully interactive doggy daycare facility that offers services like grooming and boarding. But our main claim to fame is that we get dogs to not get dogs to interact, because they're dogs, so by nature they should interact in groups and packs, natural packs. And we allow them to do what nature wants them to do. Sometimes at home, in our domestic setting, the dogs can't do what they do in our facilities, which is, we kind of kiddingly say, hump, jump, and dump, without getting yelled at, screamed at, squirted with water, have pennies lodged at them. Whatever people do, rub their nose in poop, whatever humans do to dogs, it doesn't happen at the Hounds Town. So we kind of know when to, take our, as we say, the human brain off and interact with dogs as though they're dogs and try to figure them out. So I know already I'm putting Finn to sleep. So he's been here. We just met Finn, by the way, literally 15 minutes ago. We just met Finn. We asked Lori to come in just to talk about it, which we will. But I get a lot of criticism, especially down south. A friend of mine says I talk too much. Well, I'm on the radio. I thought that's what I got to do. But I have to finish my thoughts. And Ashley, my co-host, by the way, Ashley Pizzo here, she's supposed to guide me. So when I start to talk about something, I have to finish. But invariably what happens, by the time I get to the second and third segment, I'm so angry for some reason that I lose my composure. So I'm going to start slow. My friend Tom Sullivan, if you're listening, I'm trying. All right, so let's see, what do I got to go over? Last week we talked about over-controlling your dog with Laura, Mike, and their dog Riley. After the break, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the dog brain. As you can see, for those of you on Facebook, we have Riley, Finn here, sorry, and I will introduce his lovely mom, Lori. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
Talk right into that microphone.
Hi.
There. All right, Finn, would you like to say hello? All right, no, he So Finn, by the way, he's a handful. He doesn't look like a handful right now because he's shy. So when we bring dogs to the airport here, the airport is a very, very crazy human place. There's so many distractions and things that human brain take for granted. But dogs can't figure out. They can't figure out the glass doors.
The carpet changes.
Right. So as I said, we just met little Finn here. He's 6 months old. Lori, when did you get Finn?
February. We're fostering him.
Oh, you're fostering him.
Well, I adopted
Yeah,
him.
I got you. I
You're a foster
understand.
failure. A foster failure twice around.
Yeah, no, we start out fostering, but that never really works, right? Because we always end up keeping him. So he's 6 months old. What's his major, complaint? Like you were listening actually a couple of weeks ago,
Okay.
and you called or you texted Danielle, the producer, beautiful Danielle over there hiding behind later on, we got to introduce you to Danielle because people want to know. The inquiring mind wants to know who Danielle is.
Mystery.
Mystery Danielle. So anyway, you've been a customer from Hounds Town for a long time. Talk about that. What has that been like?
You guys are the only ones I trust with my fur babies, and they are truly my babies. We were first with you when it was in Port Jeff only.
Oh wow, you're going way back.
Yes, you had Riley, my Great Dane.
Right.
And he passed away very young. And you got F4 from cancer.
Wow.
And then we got Jesse, and you guys continue to have him every year, and you call him Sir Humpsalad.
Sir Humpsalad. That's a good one. I like that, Sir Humpsalad.
And then 2 years ago, we fostered and failed again with 2 cats, and you amazingly opened your house to them.
Right, you were probably one of our first cat boarding
Yes,
customers.
they were the 2 white ones, and now it will be Finn this summer with all of them.
All right, so you had some lapse of something, and you decided to go get Finn. You have another dog at home.
I do,
right?
Jesse.
Jesse, right.
the
So
2
you got
cats.
Jesse, the 2 cats. Your family consists of,
2 little girls and my mom.
okay, so you have what I consider
Big,
like
very full house.
full house. You call it full, that's a nice way. But, when you have animals, there's also an element of there's drama that goes on, right? So
Yes.
the dogs and cats and children, we're all trying to coexist together in a human world. So that means when the doorbell rings or people come over or you come home from work, what is that like? So what would happen if I knocked on your door?
Jesse would jump on you and lick you.
Okay.
You would fear because you would think he was attacking you.
Right.
And this guy would just run around your feet.
Right, so it's kind of mayhem.
Yeah. Oh, it's total mayhem.
And what about vacuum cleaners? Did that bother the dogs or not really?
Finn, no, he runs from it. It bothers him a little bit. Jesse attacks it.
Right. So
Yeah.
but that's ironic. So let's just talk about a vacuum cleaner. I talk about these different things that would live in our homes specifically, and actually you got both possibilities. One dog attacks the vacuum, and the other dog runs away from it. So we already know Finn's a little shy, and for those who are watching on Facebook, you'll see our little demonstration during our 7-minute break. But think of what a vacuum cleaner is. We call it the monster in the closet. It comes out, we plug it in, it makes whining noise, and what does it smell like? It smells like dogs because you're vacuuming up their scent. So they don't understand what it is. So they hear the whining noise, which, see how he gets very alerted to that. So a whining sound that's rolling across his carpeting. Of course, all the animals think your house is their house. So there's always a lack of leadership and structure. So that's one of the suggestions we're going to make. And again, we're going to play around with it during the 7-minute break. But when we think about a dog, whether it's Finn or Jess, any one of the dogs, we live in a crazy world that we take for granted. So our human brain understands what things are. There's a PA system right now going off. To you and I, we know it's a PA system. To a dog, it's not. They don't understand anything. And they live in a different world. They're living low off the ground in a different environment. There's different odors. So as you saw when we were walking through the carpeting, that there's odors coming off this carpet that's very distracting to the dog. It could be other animal odors. So dogs are humans and dogs are always in conflict. So what exactly, when you called last week, what was happening? What's happening at home that you'd like to resolve?
The nipping. I think it's nipping. But he, mainly with my youngest, who's 9, he literally jumps up and both my children, my other one's 11, they jump up and he will fight them. Like,
Right.
I thought it was teething when he was littler.
Teething on your children? Okay.
And so I kept
So that was
saying, "It's
okay with you?
teething,
All right.
it's okay."
So it's only my children.
But now it's, he's literally putting holes in all of their
Right.
their clothes and scratching them. I mean, you know, we all have little marks all over us.
Right.
Aren't,
Bites,
you know,
bites,
and
okay.
it's,
Right.
I can't get it to stop.
Okay, well, we're going to work on that. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to create it because he's not really in that, when he's home with you, he's safe and secure, and now everybody, your children, and you become a play toy. Right, well, maybe we will, but we're gonna work on this. But before we go to break, I would like, Danielle, so one thing that we have to understand is some anatomy, animal anatomy. Dogs have canine teeth, so do a close-up of this little fella's teeth. And this is all dogs. All dogs, nature, very dangerous. All dogs have 4 canines. Does he have all his teeth there?
Barely.
Barely. And he's young, he's only 6 months old, but nature gave dogs those 4 teeth. Those 4 teeth are designed, what?
Going right back to sleep.
Those 4 teeth are designed to rip skin, right? Animal skin in the wild. So we got to think about how close a dog is to the natural wild dog, a wolf, and how we are completely opposite. We're not there anymore. So they have their canine teeth. They don't have thumbs. So if Finn wants to play with the kids, he has only one mechanism, and that's his teeth. So he puts his mouth on. It starts out as playing. It's play biting, wrestling, just like your children with hands would wrestle. But with the dog, it turns into a bite. And eventually, it's going to break skin. It doesn't necessarily have to be a vicious act. It doesn't have to be an aggressive or vicious act. But the only way any dog on this planet can resolve any conflict they have is with their mouth and teeth. So they chew, they kill things, they to Finn, that's a distressed animal. We talk about that quite a bit. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break for 2 minutes, and then join us after the break, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Finn. I have a bunch of things going on. We're going to have a crazy dog contest. Finn doesn't qualify as this. The craziest dog on Long Island or in the world or in New York. Join us after the break. Get on Facebook or find somebody on Facebook. You're listening to the Dish on Dog 103.9 FM live every Monday night at 8 p.m. We're going to come back. We're taking a 2-minute break. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about our crazy dog contest. I don't know. All right. So we're going to have a little bit. Why don't you, for 2 minutes, just take him outside and take Lori with you and just sit over there for a minute, all right? I just want her to get used to holding the leash.
Okay.
Atta girl. Just sit on the bench. Don't look and talk or touch. Don't look. We'll start talking without you, but that's all right. Go ahead. We'll call you back in. Don't look, talk, or touch. Now, let's see my notes here. Last week's show. I don't even remember last week's show.
Riley was here, Ronald Golden Doodle.
I don't remember. Live life like a dog. Okay, learn important life lessons from your dog. Okay, pet manage, bicycle ride. Oh, segment 3, okay. Learn important life lessons.
90 seconds.
All right, we'll start without them, that's fine. And you can pan over to her once we get started. Well, I'll tell you to go over there. Just stay. We're good, stay, relax.
Forty-five seconds.
Let her hold.
30 seconds.
And relax. No, 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 no. Just relax, just relax, just relax. Yeah, that's good. Just relax. Yeah. Well,
10 seconds.
we'll tell her to go. We'll have them go train for a minute during this segment. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould, and you're listening to the Dish on Dog. This is a show dedicated to dogs, animals, and how to understand the difference. There is such a gap between the human brain, which is sometimes toxic. The human brain is full of a lot of bad things. Of course, it's arguable that it's full of some good things. But you know the old saying, the more people we meet, the more we like our dogs. Because dogs, you know, very few mammals kill their young. I'm listening to a story in Chicago where parents tortured their 5-year-old child. This is sickening to me. It breaks my heart, makes me sick. Dogs don't do this. This behavior lies in the minds of humans, the neocortex. Dogs are not psychotic. They're not racist. We say this over and over again. They have a very simple way of life, and you can learn from them. I learn my best lessons from them. Just they want respect. We don't encroach. The problem happens with humans when they encroach into the animal world. Every accident that you see, whether it's a dog biting a human or a lion attacking a human or whatever the case may be, it's when humans cross boundaries and encroach on these animals. So if you learn from a dog, as I said, they're not racist, they're not homophobic, they don't have toxic thinking. So if you respect them, obviously they need structure like we all do. Human children need structure, dogs need structure, and that's what we teach people is leadership. Teaching leadership and structure. So outside there, for those of you on Facebook, Ashley's doing a little bit of a lesson there. We're trying to relax Finn and his mom Lori. We're just going to video that a little bit. Nice and relaxed. Sorry folks, for those of you who are on Facebook. But anyway, we're teaching Lori live while we're on TV here how to walk her dog. Anyway, so dogs are toxic. Humans are toxic. Dogs are wonderful. So live like a dog. Live like a dog. They want safety, security. Want safety and security. And then everything else, love, all that comes down the line. And if you really think about dogs and view the world from a dog's perspective, you'll see how very easy it is to understand them. So one of the things we talk about is pet management. It's so easy that most people think too much. We have our human beings, our human pet owners, they're so smart that it's not difficult to do. This is like riding a bicycle. Riding a bicycle is simple. I'm just yelling at her. Relax her hands. Her hands. Oh, you bet. I'm trying to multitask, folks. I probably shouldn't be doing this live on television. So anyway, managing a dog or teaching a dog behavior is like riding a bicycle. You don't have to go. I mean, most 7-year-old children can ride bicycle. Once you learn how to do it, you don't take bicycle riding lessons. You learn how to do it, but you have to fall. I have theories why it's so difficult, pet management, because we live in such a protected bubble now. You know, I have my beautiful granddaughter, Adeline, and she's bundled up, and the safety, kids have to scrape their knees in order to learn basic life lessons. And so it's important. And then what we do is we start treating our dogs like they're children, and that's when things really get toxic. So it's a very kind of a funny kind of thing. During our break, we're going to work some more, and they're looking in at me. They're practicing outside. So listen about this. Hey Danielle, when are we going to talk about this dangerous, not dangerous dog, the
Craziest dog?
the what?
Are you talking about craziest dog?
The craziest dog. So we're going to have the world's craziest dog contest. And so what that means is, and we'll explain it after the break, when people are going to video their dog, right? 1 minute, 2 minute video. Whatever the behavior is, then we're going to select the craziest dog, our panel of experts, which is our producer Danielle, about 4 other people. We're going to do this all on live, Facebook Live. We're going to select the winner. Whoever the winner is going to get a free boot camp, what we call a boot camp. It's a 12-day boarding school at our facility. So we're looking for dogs that are not necessarily vicious towards human beings. We want them to be, obviously not, for the purposes of this contest, we want them to be relatively friendly dogs. They can be a little fearful of other animals, but not towards humans. And then we're going to select the winner, and we're going to have a bunch of prizes, but we're really going to talk about that on the third segment, because Danielle's got her hands full right now. She's videoing our training lesson with Lori and Finn outside, and we're walking around the airport, and it's so simple for those of you who are watching. If Lori just walks, don't look, she doesn't look, talk, or touch the dog. I know it's annoying, but folks, it's hard because we're doing this live on Facebook, and I'm also talking on the radio. So it's going to be a lot of fun if you have Facebook, probably not so much if you're just listening to me and trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about. And then I get all my critics down in Florida telling me I'm not really explaining myself. So again, one of the things we call turbo dog training, turbo meaning it happens fast. You don't need a lot of lessons. Usually we can meet a human being and their owner for 1 hour or less and transform the dog, or transform the dog's personality and the relationship with the owner. And what you're seeing here is the beginning of that. We're trying to teach Lori not to look, talk, or touch, and just move, and the dog goes with her. And it's quite fascinating, actually, to be able to see this. This particular dog, of course, you have to get into a dog's brain and understand what's motivating him. So fear and disobedient look similar. So think about that comment. Fear and disobedience looks familiar. So if the dog isn't sitting when you say so, it might have just heard a car backfire. So that's not disobedience, that's fear. So you really have to know, in law enforcement, we talk about reading the dog, learning how to read the dog's behavior. And it's like reading your child's behavior, or your husband's, or whoever, your spouse's. You know when they're in a bad mood, you know when they're in a good mood. I know, you can tell these things. You feel energy by looking at it. All right, come on back in here. Let her take Finn. Get back in here. That was pretty good. I want you to sit down now, Lori. Relax. Don't look, talk, or touch. Hold Finn. So when and again, for my friends, Tom Sullivan tells me I'm not finishing my story. This is a tightrope. We're working with live animals here. Live animals. The WC Fields would never do it. So what was that like? Talk into that microphone and tell us what you were just doing out there.
Learning how to lead him.
Right. So in other words, without not letting him manipulate you, right? And just all you did was just walk and turn and walk and turn and just move without really talking to him or coaxing him and begging him.
That's the hard part, not talking to him.
Exactly. And that's very difficult. Some clients have a hard time, and as I say, I tell people that not looking, talking, or touching your dog is so difficult, so easy that most people can't do it. It's really simple, but it's a struggle.
Yeah.
And the reason we don't want you looking, talking, or touching, it's a miscommunication. So in mammals, when mammals stare at each other, including humans, it sends a message to somebody. When you're, I'm standing here, we're in the studio, and I'm not staring at any one person, but I see everything that's going on in the room. It's almost rude, right? If you're in certain social situations and you stare at people, that's a rude. If you're on a subway, you certainly wouldn't stare at people. So the point is staring and then offering your hands and talking to a dog that doesn't process human language. So to yell at a dog to get off of you or sit or stay or be quiet, whatever, these are just human words. A dog has no clue of what those words necessarily mean. Now what's happening, and as again, we only met Finn a half an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, and he's eating a treat. Before he was so fearful of his environment. Not fearful, he's never been beaten. There's none of this is all genetics, by the way. So when people rescue dogs and they bring the dogs to us and they see a dog that's fearful, their natural, which is normal, their natural thought is that he must have been abused or he wouldn't be this way. But 90% of the time, this is all genetics. So what we're going to do in about a minute and a half, we're going to take our 7-minute break. We're going to go back outside with Finn, for those of you on Facebook. For those of you not on Facebook, I don't know, I guess you got to listen to some commercials or something. I don't know. I really don't know what happens during that 7 minutes. We're going to have Lori, we're just going to play around. And that's the other thing, what I tell people, just relax. We're playing with a dog. This is not a nuclear bomb. We don't have to be uptight. And by the way, Lori was doing a nice job by just relaxing, and you have to separate yourself emotionally and physically with dogs and humans. Your children, kids got to go to school and people go to work. You have to learn. Now Finn is showing his true colors now that he's getting comfortable here. So folks on Facebook, stay with us. We're going to go outside and walk around with Finn and see how he is and see if he just kind of behaves himself a little bit, see if we can get him to act out so we can correct his bad behavior. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs live Mondays at 8 p.m. Join us at 7 minutes after the break. Watch Finn and Lori and Ashley play around with Finn outside. That's good.
Your attention please. Due to TSA regulations, drivers cannot be left unattended in the terminal and do not expect any package or beverage from someone who do not know. Due to the conduct.
All right, so what you're seeing is Ashley's trying to relax. They're a huge distraction. Just think of what's happening here that humans take for granted. There's a PA system. This carpeting stinks from dogs, humans, food. And she's got to work, Finn has to work through her fear. There's people staring at her. As I said, eye contact, if I'm staring at something, that's very weird. So people have a tendency to look, talk, and touch a dog for no reason. Then she's going to cross surfaces, go on to, just this little act might not look like a big thing, but going from carpet to tile is a big problem for some dogs, not all dogs, but we're not talking about all dogs. We're not talking about a breed of dog. We're talking about this dog right here. Get low right there. Good. And then, of course, he sees mom staring at him. So we're going to introduce Lori into this. So when you saw the dog going, he sees who? Mom, who's going to nurture, love, talk, touch, and feed. Give it this. So we're just going to, we correct bad behavior. A correction is just a slight snap of the leash. This is not a pinch collar, it's not a prong collar, it's not an electric collar, it's literally a piece of cloth. So what we're going to do is watch the dog's behavior. I'm using 2 fingers. I'm not doing this. And I'm not restraining the dog. So tension is exactly that, tension. When there's tension on the leash, it's unnatural for a leash to be on an animal. Right? Dogs aren't tethered to anything in the wild. In fact, that would scare them, they'd be trapped. So they act out. So there's no tension. This is tension, this is not. And I'm gonna go, good boy. And dogs are manipulative. But I'm just walking, good boy. And I'm gonna pull him over, good. Come on over, Lori. When there's tension, I'm just gonna ask her to snap this a little. Put this in your right hand, open and close, and drop your hand, nice and low. This is gonna go like this. Back, we're going to walk, just go. And we just walk. When she don't talk, she said come. So it's natural for people to talk to dogs. And you make yourself, it diminishes your authority when you talk. Just think of talking to a deaf child, or try to talk to a Chinese person, or a Russian person, or a Lithuanian person, without knowing how to speak the language. You know what it sounds like? It's insane. Go ahead. I forgot Laura. Keep going, just forward. Good, keep going. Good, now turn right and go this way. And just head that way, like where we own the airport. relax, and we just move like we move. And we go nice. Keep going, don't stop, don't stop. So what happens when a dog stops, we stop, and the dog learns to manipulate it. Correct, a little snap. And just keep going. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, this is the point. This is the key. You can keep moving. Just keep going. This is the beginning. Keep going. Excellent. She's doing good. You see that there's no tension on the leash. The dog's on her left, and she's walking into the dog. This is perfect. Keep going, honey. And then turn right towards us. Keep your hands down and just move as though it's very fluid, like there's no dog there. Keep going. He's sniffing, she's going. Keep down, relax. Keep going. We're gonna go get back in the studio. Go sit back over by Ashley. Good, relax. That a girl. Keep going, keep going. And you'll watch the dog try to manipulate. Manipulation meaning the dog might stop walking. When the dog stops, the human stops. It doesn't take long for the dog to understand who's in charge. Yeah, just relax. And now just drop what's in your left hand. Now, let me see if I can get her to pull. All right, she's doing good. I want her to be a bad girl. Big boy, sorry. Big boy. It's going to be hard. Of course, Finn's not in his natural environment. At home, when he's safe and 2 minutes, when he's safe and secure, we're going to go back in the studio. I'll break his ha, 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 ha. And love, love, love. We love good behavior. We correct bad behavior. Come on back in, girls, and we'll finish this up. And Ashley, you have to help me talk a little. Hi, Facebook. Well, because. Okay.
Do you want it on my head? I'll take it.
Yeah, let her hold it, because I think it's important. Will he go up on your lap?
Yes, he feels it up here.
Yeah.
Just let him out.
I can't hear anything. Is it on? What was that?
You just flopped down on the chair. I have.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Okay. Is that my coffee over there?
That one.
Yeah, a minute. Thanks, Laura. Perfect. Thank you, dear.
You guys need
30
to come to my
seconds.
house.
I know. That's right. Well, that's what we're going to talk about.
And Laura, you can get closer to the microphone.
Get closer?
Yeah, just about 2 inches. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Anybody? Yeah.
10 seconds.
Do you wish you knew what your dog was thinking? You're in the right place. Hounds Town USA presents the Dish on Dogs.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I'm your host, Mike Gould. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs. I'm a little bit discombobulated because I'm trying to do the live Facebook Live, and I'm also realizing I'm on the radio, so I know that I'm not narrating everything as properly as I should be for all my critics out there who call me a buffoon or narcissistic or what other things. I get called a lot of things, big mouth. Anyway, those are all true, by the way. So with us tonight on The Dish on Dogs is Lori LaCastro and her wonderful 6-month-old dog Finn, who we just met about 45 minutes ago. And the reason I wanted her to come in, because at home Finn really acts up. He's very mouthy, he bounces, he jumps, he really gets a little wild. So I thought we could recreate that live here, but we can't because he's behaving so well. So what we're going to do is I think we'll visit, hopefully we can visit Lori's house with her children there, and we'll really get them going. So, but it's pretty simple. And so what I'm going to suggest to her tonight is when the dog is supervised, he should always have this leash and collar on. So when he jumps, no talking, touching, or no talking, and no looking. Don't stare. It's a very simple process of correcting bad behavior. And it's hard because some people are verbal. That is our skill. How do we communicate with our children? Everyone. Every place that we go, we communicate with human language. Because we're lucky that we have a language and we can process a human language. Dogs, as wonderful as they are, they cannot process language. Of course they know sounds, sit, stay. They can understand these little sounds and associate a behavior with it. But they don't know complicated sounds, like we're going to the dog park or we're going to doggy daycare. They just don't get it. They may hear a sound that they're associated with and maybe in combination with picking up a leash. So they put things together as a picture. They see a leash, a sound, maybe you're putting on, they understand us because they watch us 24/7. They're analyzing everyone in the house. So that's what we're doing with Finn. As you can see, he's obviously a well-behaved dog. He's of no, so we couldn't get him to misbehave if we wanted to. What happens, because the airport here, where we are, we're literally in a bubble. But the fact that he can lay here right now so calmly tells me that this can happen. He's not wild, he's not biting anyone, he's not barking, and so he's nice and balanced right now. So what happens when he gets home, he gets out of balance. Children are the number one victims of dog bites because they're very animated, right? So they jump, they scream, they're running around. So children get dogs kind of out of balance. And then how does a dog play with children? He can't sit down and color. He doesn't have fingers. He can't do Legos. So he uses his mouth. That's all he has. And then somebody eventually says, ouch, but to a dog that means nothing. That's just playtime. So the children then become a squeaky toy for the dog, and things escalate. So anyway, Lori, tell us about your experiences at Hounds Town. So you've been coming, as I said, I'm shocked that it's been that you went to Port Jeff. I know you've been coming a long time.
Yeah.
And what's that experience been like for you?
Amazing. The best thing ever is the Hounds Town hangover.
What is that?
You're not on social media, so you don't know about it.
What's a
Oh,
Hounds?
you don't know about
I don't know about what's that?
3 days after we pick them up, they're still sleeping.
Oh,
They'll
yeah.
get up, they'll eat, they'll go out, go do their business, and then come in and they're still sleeping. It is the best
Oh, so that's what it's called, the Hounds Town Hangout.
Hangout, yes.
Right. And that's one of the, truth of the matter is that's what really people are paying for, right? They come, they have very exuberant dogs. You'd have to run a marathon to give Finn or high energy dogs the amount of exercise they get, because when they come to Hounds Town, they're literally running around from 6 or 7 in the morning. We open at 6, so people start dropping their dogs 6 or 7 in the morning, and they don't pick them up till 5, 6, or 7 at night. So that means the dogs have been interacting all day long. And we have, obviously, example after example. I didn't know it was called the Hounds Town Hangover, but dogs literally make it out the front door. They have this last burst of energy, and then they get in the car and they pass out.
That's it.
Early on, many years ago, people used to accuse us, they thought we were like giving them,
drugging the
dogs,
dogs.
giving them doggy downers,
No.
because they never saw their dogs so tired before. But on the other hand, they never allowed their dogs to interact like that so long. So that's a very good thing. So overall, you've had, obviously a positive experience.
Amazing. There's nothing like it.
Well, and good. So behaviorally, we're going to take Finn. Hopefully, we'll talk again after the show, and we'll figure out, because I really want to take the video that you sent me, which was really, wow. Okay. I don't know if you're going to let us put that on Facebook, but I'd like to put it on Facebook.
Fine.
Okay, so that's it.
That's fine.
So we're going to post this before video of Finn, and he's a handful, and you wouldn't believe it by looking at him now. Right, so he's like my children, right? When they're out in public, they are the best behaved, but at home they're monsters. So that's going to be fun to watch the before and after. So we're going to post that for those of you who aren't on Facebook or are. You watch Finn's before video, and we'll see if we can do an after video. So that'll be the challenge. That will be our challenges and quickly. That's the other part. Turbo dog training, what we talk about. This stuff should happen fast, and it will be very simple. Once I get humans to understand the dog brain, and once you understand it, and I think you might have taken away a little bit now. I don't know. Obviously, we only had 7 minutes of interacting with you, but when you realize that looking, talking, or touching. It's getting the dog to do things exactly opposite of what you want them to do. But you're in good company. Everyone does it. So when I have new clients come in and, you know, they feel bad that they're looking, talking, and touching, but it's very normal because that's how we communicate with our children and our family members. Let's talk for a minute about our craziest dog contest.
Yeah, I don't even know anything about this. What's going on?
All right, so what's happening here? We're going to take people like Lori, and you're going to video your dog. If you think your dog is like crazy, you're going to video 1 minute, 2 minute video of your dog. You're going to submit that to us, and we're going. I don't know the cutoff dates. We'll talk to next week. We'll announce the parameters of it. But the winner of the Crazy Dog Contest is going to win a boot camp, a free 12-day boot camp for their dog. Second prize is going to be a private lesson in Ronkonkoma. And third place is going to be 3 free days of daycare in Ronkonkoma. So that's going to be the Crazy Dog Contest. But we need, as I said, we're going to submit, we'll have a start date, an end date, and when this is going to happen. What do you think about that, Professor?
It's good. And there's just the condition. We can't have any dogs that are aggressive towards humans or other dogs.
Right. So although we deal with aggressive dogs pretty regularly, for the purposes of this contest, we just don't want to do it because the winner, we want to obviously bring him on the show, and we're going to chronicle the boot camp. But I'm going to give Lori 3 free days of daycare just because she was a good sport.
Thank
and
you.
we'll figure out, we got to come over to your house at some point, and I really want to show that interaction. So that's something you'll work out with Ashley. Where do you guys live these days?
Holbrook.
All right, so you're right around the corner.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. We're going to take a break, and then in 2 minutes we're taking a break, and then we're going to come back, talk about Bruno at the Town of Hempstead shelter, Town of Brookhaven shelter.
Right.
And then what else will we talk about? I'm calm now, so I have my chi. I was a little upset about this girl that got killed in Chicago. Her parents tortured her. 5 years old. I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but this incensed me. It makes me sick to my stomach. So I hate to go from a happy topic to that. But you know, I actually had Danielle, our producer. There are very few animals that kill their young. Humans are probably at the top of the list. This is attributed to the human brain. All these crazy things that are happening in our society. I mean, there's social changes happening. The population of the United States is growing. That's why there's so many dog bites. The dog population is growing. Everything is out of control, so it kind of gets me a little bit crazy. But, yeah, so that made me sick, and I thought to myself, this is why I love dogs. They don't kill their young. They bite, but they don't do it. They do it for a very specific reason.
They're not torturing their
Of course not. And 90% of dogs that bite is because somebody encroached on their space, and the dog was being territorial over something. So yeah. So what else you want to talk about there, Professor?
Your main thing you wanted to talk about was living life like a dog.
Well, living life like a dog, yeah. You know, if people would just get out to nature is hardly around anymore. Just go watch birds. They're the most amazing creatures. They must fly over our heads and think we are the biggest bunch of buttheads, right? We're going to take a break, but let's talk about nature and how beautiful it is and how you can learn from it and how there is no nature anymore. There's hardly any grass in it. We're losing everything, and it's really despicable in my mind. Despicable, I'll tell you. And what else did we want to talk about?
That, pet management we were going to touch on, and
all right, let's take our
life lessons.
important life lessons. We'll learn that from our dogs. We'll learn it from Finn here. Look, he's chilling out. He's not judgmental. He's not judging us. He's not criticizing me. He's snoozing. Join us after the break for our last segment. We're going to talk about Hounds Town Charities. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs.
He's alcohol.
He is, yeah.
Alcohol.
Oh, you pay. All right.
That's my only complaint about him is that he bites.
No,
Like,
but we'll
yeah.
fix that. We just got to figure out.
I don't even want to say it bites.
No, it's not.
biting.
But it's funny. But that's what is it? You know,
Yeah,
a dog. That's all they have. So whether it's a
Right.
bite, a nip, it still hurts, and he shouldn't
Yeah.
be doing it to a human.
Right.
Let's see if I got any more comments. Well, I appreciate you coming down. And why are dogs smarter, Jackie wants to know. All right, let's talk about that. Why dogs are smarter. I got to figure that out. And then you'll be able to show Finn too. No, he's a good boy. You wouldn't. No, but you do. What you have to work on is building his confidence a little bit in
Okay.
different social areas.
Just keep taking him every direction.
yeah, just
Okay.
walk him around, but
Yeah,
in a
that's
structured,
Yeah.
in a structured way. You're gonna have to help me.
30 seconds. Ten seconds.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host, Mike Gould. So the Dish on Dogs, we try to talk about how the human brain is kind of toxic for dogs. It can be wonderful towards other human beings, but to dogs and animals that don't understand, it can be very, very confusing what we do to dogs and animals in general. Unwittingly, as I said, my clients, including Lori and Vin here, they're the most amazing pet owners there are. They go to any expense. They take the best food and so forth. Sometimes, most times, in fact, very rarely do I find a pet owner that really understands how the brain of the dog functions. So that's why it's important. That's why we invite Lori, we invite whoever to come by, and we kind of explain to them how living 10 inches off the ground in this crazy world that we kind of understand. I don't understand it completely, but if I'm just looking outside the window of this airport right now, and it's like just crazy, people, it's just a crazy place. There's reflections. We're in this like little bubble. So I can't imagine what a Finn and other animals think of us humans. I think they think we're crazy. So we talk about why are dogs smarter than us. Just think of how smart they are. They respect boundaries. They respect people. No, that's not the right word. They respect nature. So you don't see dogs building condominiums. They don't build their doghouse on a beach that keeps getting smashed by hurricanes. In fact, when we have all these natural disasters, dogs that are in the wild, there's no alligators. So when they had these hurricanes down south, alligators, you don't see alligators flying through the air. The only animals that got hurt was ones that we had in captivity, horses and so forth. But wild animals, birds are getting the hell out of here. When they feel the weather, barometric pressure, and dogs and horses all do this. Wild animals are so much smarter. They have internal mechanisms that tell them what to do. Obviously, they have to navigate because predators are after them. We're predators. Dogs are predators. The dogs kill the cat kills the mouse. That's just the way nature made it, whether we agree with it or disagree with it. We're predators. Dogs are predators. We are toxic predators, though. We do things for really evil, as I said. Dogs, when you look at Finn lying here, for those of you on Facebook, there's not a racist bone in his body. He's not homophobic. He couldn't care less. So when they come to doggy daycare, they can be dogs. What does that mean? They can sniff each other's butts. They don't get yelled at. They could, what'd you call your other dog, Lori? What was he called?
Sir Humps a lot.
So Sir Humps a lot. So yeah, so that's a place where they can come to Hounds Town, and Sir Humps a lot can hump. They can sniff, they can pee, they can poop. They're not getting screamed at. So, and again, obviously, you don't want dogs doing this behavior in the confines of your home, but they do need an outlet, just like children need an outlet. To go to, you have to have children socialize. You can't keep them captive in your house. They need to get out and explore the world. And as I said in an earlier segment, they have to fall off their bicycle in order to get back on it, to ride it. So there is a risk of being an animal. Kids get bloody noses, they get black eyes. you kind of can't protect them from every element of that. So when dogs come to doggy daycare, yeah, they may pull a muscle, they may get nipped, they might get a little puncture wound, because we showed you earlier, dogs have canine teeth. Their canine teeth are those 4 fangs that were given to them to rip things apart. And when I say things, I mean subordinate animals. That's what they kill with, and that's how they consume their food. They don't have opposing thumbs, thankfully. They can't pick up guns. We do that. Humans are the ones that do that. Dogs don't shoot each other. They can't. They don't have thumbs. So they resolve all their conflict with their mouth. And during the break we were talking about, Lori was saying that's her only complaint, is that Finn gets mouthy, and the pressure, his canine teeth are hurting. They're pinching, whatever you want to call it. But that's the only thing he has. So what we're going to teach Finn is when it's appropriate to put his, what is appropriate for him to put his mouth on.
What and when.
What and when. And human being skin is not one of them under any circumstance. So, but they don't know that, because if they bite a child's sleeve and the child pulls away, that becomes a toy. It's a plaything. So it's just their predatory drive, their prey drive, that we're activating, and unwittingly, we don't realize that we're actually making it worse than better. And we're going to teach Lori that for sure. But as far as why, learn your lessons from dogs. Learn your lessons from animals. Leave them alone. They won't mess with you. Look at Finn. He has no reason. Now, if some jerk comes in here and starts putting his face by Finn's face, why wouldn't he nip him? You know, I had police dogs. You know, obviously, many police dogs. My first police dog actually bit my 1-year-old daughter. That was my fault. It's never the dog's fault. I think we're going to segue. Next week, we're going to talk about police dogs. And as I said, my poor daughter, when she was 1, she got bit by my police dog in the face. Thank God it was not serious. I mean, it just the circumstances, I'll explain that. Whose fault was that? It wasn't my 1-year-old daughter's fault. It wasn't my dog's fault. It was me, Mike Gould, the big hotshot dog trainer. But that was 35 years ago. I learned that lesson. And, you know, and we'll talk about that, why I allowed that. I mismanaged my dog. He actually, now that I think about it, he bit my poor sister in the nose. I think she had to get stitches. Whose fault? Me. I mismanaged the dog. And my sister came to pet him, bent over him, and he nipped her. Had she not done that, or had I managed my dog differently, she wouldn't have got bit, nor would my poor daughter, who is now traumatized for the rest of her life from me. No, she's not. She just... Anyway, that was my poor baby Heather. But we'll talk about these things and how these things are it's always the human. I don't care what. I'm going to court in Florida to talk about a dog bite next month or 2 months. It's never the dog. It's always the human. The human. So yeah. So why are dogs smarter? Because they just look at they're these incredible animals. They just want love. They want love, security, safety, security, love, and food. You give them those 4 things, and that's why they're man's best friend. But when we become toxic, when we ask dogs to do we see people asking dogs, not Lori, to do things that they shouldn't. This emotional support, the therapy, it's overdone. It's overdone. I'm going to have my friend Scott Bezalier come on. He trains therapy dogs. And I'm saying there's not a place for it, but I think it's that we push dogs into places that they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. If you need to support the dog to support you, might need a cane or a walker. Don't use a 70-pound dog. Anyway, that's my crazy thoughts. You're listening to The Dish on Dogs, 103.9, live on Monday nights. Next week we'll talk about police dogs, how I mismanage dogs, and I learned my lessons from dogs. I learned my life lessons from them. They're smarter than me, much smarter than me. The Dish on Dogs. See you next week, everybody. Watch us on Facebook. Check out some of these videos. Lori's going to let her put her video on.
Oh, boy.
Girl. Thanks for coming in, Lori. We
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having
Thanks,
us.
everybody. See you next Monday night.